I hate doing stuff like this, oddly enough. It's not something that I enjoy at all. Mostly because it seems like every time that I've done a video like this, it's about somebody that I was friends with, and that relationship went sour for one reason or another. You can tell by the screen down here that there's Twitter DMs that have been brought up. And this is a situation, it's not one of those sad story videos, it's just cleaning up the business. Um, the thing about being in business with people is that on occasion you work with people who are creative, but in working with those creative people, they make silly mistakes and they do silly things for whatever reason. In this particular case, I really don't know. Um, so what I have decided to do is finally respond to this to Piper. Now, some of you will know Piper from Graded Point 5, and she was part of that group for a while, and then she decided to go off and do her own thing, which is fine. And the thing is that it kind of seems like as time has gone on, everybody that she was associated with from that corner of the internet, myself included, she didn't just burn the bridges. She somehow got her hands on napalm and just lit the fuckers up like it's the 4th of July. And where this kind of left us, and I say us because at this point it's probably been announced that, we're in business together. But the reason that I waited so long to respond to this instead of doing it earlier, and honestly doing it when I was angrier, was mostly because I was angrier, but also because we needed to figure out things on a legal level with things that would affect the business going forward. And once we had a strict idea of where those things were going and what we can settle and what we can't settle and things along those lines, I didn't want to do anything that could jeopardize that. So I had to sit on a lot of emotions, and I had to do a lot of thinking, do a lot of praying about how I wanted to approach this, and how much I really wanted to say and how much I didn't want to say, and what was necessary to say, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear up what I believe to be the most important things. And the reason that I am clearing up these things is because this could affect the comic book and publishing business going forward, because the things that she claimed could make it so that maybe if I need to hire another editor, even though, Hatman's doing a good job, or if anything along those lines, people seem to think that I don't pay for whatever reason, that needs to get cleared up. That's why I, lashed out at Liam as hard as I did when I did, is because one thing he did was claim that I don't pay my artists, period, which that fell apart on the stream he was on with me and EVS. Because Anna even came in and pointed out, like, this issue with Micah missing payment, which I was late on a couple of them, is something that was sorted out ages ago, and you're pretending that he never does that. And that this is sort of what had happened here. So the claim that Piper made that frustrated me the most was that she had said that she had done work for me, and that I had not paid her for it. Now, I was very confused by this. And the reason for that is there was only one book that her edits were going to be part of, and that was a book that I'm doing for the Reconstruction universe called Legacy. And she was going to be the editor on that because she was already doing Reconstruction stuff with the graded team. So there's not really a reason to, to grab anybody else if she's fully capable of editing the script, So, and the other thing that she had claimed in tweets with EVS, I couldn't find them quickly, so they're not up here, but you can just search and you'll find them. just search her whining about me on her current account, which is Piper's Adventure, and you'll see it there. But oddly enough, I don't get tagged in the conversation. Big surprise, right? But anyway, but she states that was the thing. But you'll notice that when it came to anything that she had said about it, live streams or whatnot, she was never specific on what she did work on, and she was never specific on what exactly she had edited. And there's a reason for that, because maybe she is, but I'm not of the opinion that she's probably got a ton of editing work that she's doing. But again, I've been wrong before. You know, I am only human, last I checked anyway. But as it stands, the thing that I wanted to clear up first was actually another claim that she had made, and that was that she did not give permission for Peregrine to be used in this crossover, even though there were two different crossover posters that were made, one for the first Peregrine campaign, one for the second Inglewood book. I would have had to have her permission at the time, because we were under the impression that she actually had a hand in ownership of the character. Well, since that, we have, and I say we because I was part of the looking into process of this, we found out that no, she actually doesn't own the character. She came into the creation process after the character was already done. So we didn't even need her vote in the first place. But regardless, because I was going ahead and doing the planning of the crossover, because I wrote the script, it's taking place in the comic book universe I created. You know, I'm basically the one who's provided the playing field for us to play on. It's my sandbox. That's the best way to put it. But because it's my sandbox, I was taking the initiative on a lot of things. So I already had picked up the letterer. Eric Weathers does all my lettering anyway. My editor, which is Hatman for this book, which he has not edited this script yet, and I have not told him to either. But the editor is already there. Artist, colorist, all of that's already set up. So the conversation I'm going to show you is her approving of that artist. If you give me just a second here. Okay. And one thing that I usually do is I usually crop out all of this stuff. I don't have any icons that are dangerous or anything, but this shows exactly what I'm showing you. That this is a URL. These are my DMs. This is not photoshopped. I can actually scroll up and down on these. And the link does not go to like the Internet Wayback Machine or an archive. This is live. So as of this point, this is the conversation that we've got here. So we've got the relevant part is right here. And if you don't have time to zoom in, I'll just go ahead and read this for you. And we were talking about her installing Sea of Thieves to play with me on Twitch, which we did quite a bit of. And then around the end of July of 2021, I showed her Raphael's work. At the time, I had approached him to work on Legacy, and then of course to do the crossover, because if you've he ended up he finished Inglewood Book 2 for us. And at this point, since things have changed, he is now the artist for Inglewood. He is the guy for Inglewood. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him for years to come. He's awesome. But anyway, so I said here, Pipes, need your vote on something. So since Doug will be working on Perry's stuff while Inglewood Peregrine is in production, I think I found somebody who could do the crossover. Afterwards, he's interested in doing Legacy with me. I just need the okay from you, and I'll let him know. And then she says here, okay, let me check him out real quick. Love his style. As long as you trust him, you have the okay. Thank you for asking me. So this is her confirming the artist. Now, here's the thing. I don't have the DMs of her confirming that I can use the property. Now, like I already mentioned, and she does not actually own a chunk of Peregrine. She came in the creation process of that book after the character was already done. We have documentation to prove that if needed. So that vote is really irrelevant. However, there is still a lie to debunk. And the lie to debunk is very simple, is the idea that she never gave me permission to be part of it, and that she had never had any idea of what was going on in the crossover, so on and so forth. Yet, somehow she worked on it and disapproved of it. You can see the contradiction there. I wouldn't be asking her permission for the artist if I hadn't already asked permission to use the fucking character. That's just common sense, but I feel the need to reiterate that. So, that is that conversation. And showing that, yes, I did not just start using Peregrine without anything. You know, that would be like me saying that I didn't allow for, you know, the Saint to be used in promotional posters for Peregrine that weren't sold, by the way. They were given out for free. So there is that to consider. So we go through here, and then I finally give her the link to the Legacy script. Now, like I said, this is the only thing that she would have had access to. By the way, this docs link, before anybody tries to copy paste it, this doesn't work anymore. But the Legacy script. So if anybody's worried about somebody fucking with me, I'm not worried. But I gave her a link that had editor permissions and such for now. But I'd like to know what you think. I'm 15 pages in, and then by the time she got around to it, I had actually gotten what is now a third of the way done with it. This book won't be out for a bit, sadly. I think I know who I want to do the art at this point, but I haven't had the mental state to actually write it yet. So she says here, and this is where it needs to be emphasized. So she said, had an insane weekend. This is in August. Insane weekend, reading now. I've read, didn't do any editing, and didn't pick through. Good visuals. Did leave notes on a couple things that stood out as incorrect lore and timeline. Now, this part is something that she did, Optimus did, and Xavier all did. Because it's their universe. They have to do that. They own the sandbox. In the same way that if, let's say, Scott McCullough wanted to write an Inglewood Peregrine story in my universe, but I'm busy doing other stuff, Scott's like, I'll just write it. I would do the exact same thing, and so would Hatman, to make sure that the continuity is correct. You know, so it's something that has to do with being an owner, and or at least, you know, manager / editor of the property, than it really does with any sort of actual long-term labor. It's more along the lines of, if you're playing in, you know, it's basically checking to make sure I'm playing in the rules of the sandbox, so I'm going to work with them. So, and then of course, on top of that, she liked that too. As I said, I'm going for a sort of a feel like J. Michael Straczynski's run on Thor, and she said that she loves it. So, that is the other lie, that, you know, like, I actually owe her money for any work. No, I don't. You know, I don't owe her any money for any work whatsoever, because she didn't do anything. I'm not going to pay for somebody for what they didn't do. You know, that's just silly. I don't, you know, there's a little bit of anger that's even bubbling up in me right now about this, about just saying what she had said. And I'm not going to go down that road. What I'm going to say is this, is that the frustrating part for me about this was she did a stream about it quite literally the day after I said on Twitter that my grandfather had died. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, she waited for my grandpa to die for me to start talking shit about me. She may not have even known. But the reason that I did not reply to her as quickly as I did, or why I didn't do it day after, largely was because I was in mourning at the time, and I just didn't want to talk to anybody or do anything. So that's just the reasoning for that. There's another reason that I also waited on top of legal stuff to figure out, is at the time she was trying to get a book funded. And in Comicsgate, there is a bit of a taboo about fucking with people while they're trying to get a comic book funded on Indiegogo. I've made that mistake a couple times, and now I really understand why people get pissed off about it. It's because it's not just about the creator. It's about the people working with them, too. Because the money that they might make doesn't just go to them. It pays the artist, pays the inker, pays or penciler, colorist, the whole team, not just the creator in many cases. So going after them when they're trying to get a book funded comes across like you're trying to fuck with their business on a pretty, substantial level. So now, granted, she was doing that to me, but I try not to repay evil with evil, and at the end of the day, I'm willing to be somewhat nice and just say there is the possibility that she just forgot or remembered wrong and thought that her memory was correct when it wasn't. Now, I can say that, but there's a part of me that is saying that there's a good chance that, the whole thing was malicious. Because another lie that she would say is that I had told people in my Discord server to never watch any of her streams or anything like that. Well, let's give context to that statement real quick, because this is something that also needs to be shown. So this is the post in question, the one that she was told about but never actually spoke to me about that I can remember. And I said this on October 31st of 2020, so it's been 3 years. Well, not 3 years, but almost that long. It's been a while, we'll just put it that way. I said, I hate to ask this, but I saw some of you on Piper's stream last night. They were in on part of the panel for her F-It show. I said, you all know I love Piper to death, but some of the guys she had on there are ones who have been harassing Liam and I. This was during the Testify drama, and Cider Hype has since told me that Testify at this point was obsessed with me to kind of maddening and scary degrees, to the point where, according to him, some people were questioning his sanity anytime I was brought up. So that's the context of that. So I said, in fact, they brought up pictures of myself, and then I blew or censored who specifically they had brought up, because people don't need to know who he was looking into. It's none of their business. So I said, this is getting out of hand. For now, I'm just going to ask you guys not to venture over there, because if they find out you're fans of mine, they'll start fucking with you too. They'll start stalking you too. I said, as for me, I'm going to possibly go radio silent for a couple of days to figure out the whole situation. Which basically what I did was I just, made sure that anything that was my personal life was not on the internet, which is basically what's there. So, and now there's no way to find out about my personal life, because it's nobody's fucking business. Piper took this as, instead of me protecting my own audience from a crazy person on the internet, that I am basically trying to cut off her streams. It didn't even say don't watch it, it's don't go on the panel. It's very different. It's like people could watch it and nobody stopped. In fact, I continued to support Piper. She would still come on my streams and stuff like that after this. You can find that on the Sleeveless Comics channel that I've now admittedly abandoned. So, and then beyond that, I even told people in that same server, if for their own creative works, don't try to self-edit, hire Piper. This is me. And by the way, I have the permission of the people in the server to share these screenshots before anybody yells at me. So you can see here, Deimos talking about, editing scanlations. He's going to self-edit. I said, hire Piper, don't self-edit. And I stood by that, because it's a bad idea to self-edit, and Piper could do the work. So I was recommending people to work with her. I know that Serena worked with her on my recommendation. You're welcome. Not to Serena, to Piper. And then later on, lo and behold, I still allowed people to share her F-It show in my server. So the idea that I was trying to cut her off the knees, that's not true either. So let me go ahead and just bring this to a close. The thing about situations like this is that they're never fun to deal with, and the saddest part about all of this is that if she had just talked to me about things and let me show her the context of what was going on or explain it, I would have been more than happy to do so to assuage any worries that she might have. But she refused to do so. She refused to communicate. This is a trend with her that I had noticed, and alongside me, but other people around me as well had noticed, is that she does not like to approach people. She likes people to approach her. And some of you may even remember I went on to her F It show after she was complaining about me and Liam being on that stream where Liam got embarrassed. That was before, like a couple days before his mental breakdown. One thing you'll realize is that after going on her show and saying, message me about this so we can just hash it out and I can, help, tell you my perspective, the whole 9 yards. Because I'm not going to do it on a stream with 9 fucking people. It's a waste of time. I had better things to do. And she never messaged me. Ever. And if you don't, it's like, shoot me a DM. I'm not on Twitter that often. I'm not going to, sort through my mentions every day for you maybe messaging me. I'm a busy man. I have a YouTube channel to manage with 18,000 subscribers. I have comic books in production. I have a Twitch stream that I do a few days a week. I have, other social media that I manage as well. Just the simple fact that I do all of that on top of having a day job as an editor for a publication should give you an idea that I'm a busy guy. I don't have the chance to sit and play fucking babysitter with people. I just don't do that. I focus on my business. I focus on the things that I can do and the things that I like doing and the things that make me money. And the fact of the matter is there's no money in arguing with Piper. There's none. I don't expect any ad revenue off this YouTube video because fuck it, I'll monetize anything. I don't care. So, when it comes right down to it, the whole situation, I just think this whole thing was stupid. It could have been sorted out through conversation. And this is something that is the reason that the friendship doesn't exist anymore. It's the reason that she's not part of the business. It's part of the reason why, as long as I am one of the chairmen of Sleeveless Publishing, she will never have anything to do with us, ever. Is because of stuff like this. Because you go onto the internet and you fucking lie about people. And you lie in a way that will affect their ability to make money. I'm honestly lucky that nobody was watching her streams and nobody was buying what she was selling. But even so, just in case there was somebody who did, because I had evidence, I didn't feel like bringing it up today. I do have the receipts, but and I'll do it if I have to. But I know that she was in a DM group with Luke Stone and other people talking a lot of shit about me, and a lot of it was, again, blatant lies that I've disproven today. And I'm not going to be that guy that goes around looking for apologies from people. People will know now that they bought into bullshit. And if they apologize, they do. If they don't, I don't care. I just want this to be done with. And I just want this for people to understand something. I hold on to receipts, guys. I've learned the lesson of what happens when you don't. So I hold on to them. And I take my job as a writer, as an editor, and a business owner, well, co-business owner, but you get my drift, very seriously. If somebody is not getting paid on time, if something is late or something like that, I lose my shit. You can just ask Hatman. Anytime that I've had Armand come to me and say, hey, I have sent an invoice, I haven't gotten my payment yet, the first thing I'm doing is I'm picking up the phone, I am texting Hatman and saying, send the payment. If I don't get an okay from him, the next thing that happens is I either get a call, I call him, or I send him another text message with 3 capital letters, HAT, like I'm yelling the word hat at him to make sure that our people get paid. So this bullshit about me not paying people needs to die here. There's zero evidence that I just don't pay people. Zero. So the very idea that people bought into that claim whatsoever is absolutely stupid. And this should be the end of it. I'm not going to tell people not to do business with Piper. I legitimately hope that she finds success at whatever she does in the future. You stay on your side of the internet. I'm going to stay on mine. Keep growing my business, my channel, my everything. Because that's what I care about at this point. You know? And, you know, the bridge was burned. I'm happy to let the ashes settle in the water. There's no reason to try to build anything back up. Because I've realized that where that bridge leads, not worth going to. As I see it, I don't owe Piper anything at this point. You know, and I don't owe her any explanations for anything else, or any apologies for hurt feelings or anything like that. I don't care. She wasn't my lover. She wasn't, you know, really my anything except for a friend that I had never even met in person. Now she's not even that. So, on that note, that is the long and short of the whole thing. And hopefully this answers any questions about it. I am sorry that I waited this long to address it. And again, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do about dealing with her. Whatever anybody does is on themselves. You know, do what, oh God, I'm quoting the idea of evil from Berserk. Do what thou will. But, I don't know, maybe that does make me Satan. But anyway, as it stands, that's the long and short of it. I pay my people, you know. And if I'm late, then I'm late. But everybody gets paid, you know, because I appreciate the people that I work with. Piper's not one of them. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and take off. I'm not going to worry about this ever again. My name is Micah Curtis, your favorite vanilla gorilla. You know, have yourselves a good day. Better than the one I had that day. That's for sure. God bless.